What's going on, YouTube? This is Chaos-Reighn here. Today I am here to show you a little bit about what I got going on in League and just what I'm doing currently to kind of slowly but surely make some currency. I do have methods out where you can print out exalts, and I am not in the process of doing that currently, but I will be shortly, just so I can I guess eventually get my headhunter. So let's go ahead and show you exactly what we got going on. PlayStation 4 load times, hooray! Yep, this is what you can expect if you're playing on console sometimes. Unfortunately, the load times just to get into initial town take a long time. Well, thankfully my hideout seems to be doing a lot better. Alright, first things first. We're going to go into our inventory. As you see here, we have a Death Opus. Our clear is Inspiration, Mirage Enter, Holy Damage with Attacks, Ice Shot, Hypothermia, and Awakened Chain. Our helmet is the SNS Chant, linked with Creeping Frost, Sniper's Mark, Bone Shield Support, Hydro's Sphere. Armor is a Urel's Fostering, linked with Ice Shot at Awakened Added Cold, Inspiration, Awakened Cold Pen, Elemental Damage with Attacks, and Mirage Support. Our amulet is a Yoke of Suffering, and there's a couple reasons behind this. Our Anoint is Primeval Force to give us 5% Elemental Pen, along with 40% LA damage. And so the first thing we're going to note, we're going to press L3 here. You see we have, if you go down the line, there is reduced duration of ailments on enemies. Obviously, you're not going to be shocking, or you're not going to be freezing or chilling that much longer, but all your elemental damage can shock. This is kind of a downgrade because you are playing Ice Shot, and you want your duration to be relatively solid and be able to just kind of be able to deal with enemies. So if you go down after that, it says enemies take 5% of elemental, 5% increase for each type of ailment they haven't inflicted on them. And it goes on to list the different ailments, which is bleeding, ignited, scorched, chilled, frozen, brittle, shocked, sapped, and poisoned. So then you have the 10% chance to shock, which is really good because that also gives you an increased chance to shock with your pretty much guaranteed chance to chill and freeze. Then it has very high triple res. So with this build, we are already shocking and chilling, so and freezing. So we have 15% more damage dealt just off of the notables there. When it says take increased, it is considered a more multiplier, so you basically can consider it as deal 5% more, but because it's worded the way it is, let's just keep an eye out. If it says they take increased damage, it's a more multiplier. Then if you go to Void Fletcher, my Void Fletcher is corrupted with Gain Fizz's Fire, so this is how I apply my Ignite. Now, since I am applying the Ignite, I am able to apply a fourth type right here, so that's Ignited, Chilled, Frozen, and Shocked. So that ends up being 20% more damage on your amulet. Now, when you get 20% more on your amulet, it's really solid. And then the other one is just damage per damage pierced, doesn't really matter. Void Fletcher is pretty well divided. I corrupted it myself. I really appreciated it. And rings are double tamings. I am eventually going to drop one taming. As you see, our reses are well over capped, and if I drop a taming, I am still over capped. So what I might be doing eventually is trying out a tech that a friend of mine had recommended, and when I try out this tech, I will see exactly how I like it. But other than that, if you look here, Taming has a lot of res, increased elemental damage, increased chance to shock, ignite, and freeze, and then 20% increased damage with hits and ailments against freeze, shocked, or ignited enemies. So unfortunately, it only lists those three, so you're only going to ever get the three. Now, for enemies that are frozen are taking the most damage, but chilled enemies do not take extra damage with this effect, sadly. So it's just usually a twofer in maps, but it ends up being a 40% increase there, and then 36% increased once you have the catalyst on right there. So you end up doing a really, really solid amount of damage to enemies. And then you obviously have the 30% increased elemental damage with attack skills. Well, 36, so 72% increased elemental damage, along with 40% ends up being 100%. Now, eventually, I will be trying a different method to this out and seeing how I like it, but I'll get back to you guys when that happens. Next is our Torrent's Reclamation. Torrents is few and far between one of the best belts in the game, even after the 10% nerf. As you see, we have cooldown recovery rate, which is really good, especially since Flame Dash inherently has a long cooldown now. Now, I was going to use Dash Second Wind, but our links are really full, and we want to use this basically this is, Flame Dash is just good for what we're doing. We don't really dash a lot, we usually kill, and then we dash from pack to pack. And then we have the increased attack and cast speed at 15%. I got this off the trade market for relatively cheap, and I managed to get one perfectly rolled to attack and cast speed because that's all I really needed on it. Now, another thing I will note is that the debuffs expire 18% faster on you, up to 20%. This is really huge because if an enemy maims or anything like that, they expire faster, so you end up being just a little more survivable. Our boots are your standard tri-res boots. I actually got these from ROG early on in League. They are tri-res, and then I tried to craft a little bit on the prefixes. Didn't work out very well, but I crafted on life to end it and just said whatever. If I really need to, I can change boots later. Our gloves are breath stealers, and there's a couple of reasons behind this. We aren't running a headhunter in this build, and headhunters in our league for console are really expensive, so I decided I'd make upgrades in increments and in other pieces and maybe do some gambling before I decided to go for a headhunter. And as such, we have the Breath Stealer's Gauntlets to give us the Headhunter buffs. And on top of it, we are anointed with Fangs of Frost, which gives us 8% more pen. Now, normally we take Fangs of Frost, it's the notable right down here, but this saves us 2 points, or 3 points actually, and then those 3 points can be used on anywhere else in our tree. Our current, now, the other thing is you get the Blight Spore Pods, 14 all res up to, I think, 15 or 16, and up to 10% increased attack and cast speed. So all of these are really good stats, especially for gloves, so, you're just getting so much for free on top of getting the 8% cold pen. It's just all value. Now, we're going to go into our tree. Our tree is your standard start. We do have a single split. We're going up here. We're taking this for some strengthen. If we unspec it, you can see we can't equip our gear. Go up, and we take all this. We take all this here, so this gives us a really good chunk of our int that we need for our gear and our gems. We're going up here, we're pathing here, then going up to this first jewel slot, which is a first lion eye fall. Now I'm going to go over go over this in a second. Then we go over down here, take the frenzy, take all of this wheel here. Well, not all of it, but just all of this half of the wheel. We go down here, take this jewel for a second lion eye fall. Take the dodge nodes, the evasion, and the all-res nodes, which I can unspec this and take another node. Taking all the crit chance nodes here, the frenzy node here, we have a inspired of corrupted blood, courtesy of a friend of mine. We have all of these acuity, up to acuity for accuracy. Even with this, my accuracy isn't 100, I'm at 90. Let's see, I'm at I shot 196, and I shot 186. It's not the best, but it can definitely be better. It's just unfortunately not the best as it is. So then we can go down. We go down even further. This is where our other anoint is. This is Primeval Force, which is LE pin and 40% LE damage. We take the crit wheel. We go up here and take the rest of the convert for eye shot. We have the Thick Skin and Wind Dancer nodes taken. This is our other node. For our cluster is very, very strong for us. We have Blanketed Snow, Storm Rider, and Widespread Destruction on our cluster, so that is increased area of effect. This is really huge for our Herald of Ice and our Ice Shot. And then elemental damage. Then we have Storm Rider, which is one of the more powerful nodes. Storm Rider says percent chance to gain a power charge when you shock a shield enemy. Now, since we are applying all three of these elements every time we crit, we are always shocking. This works on bosses, so when we apply bosses, we always have power charges up. Unfortunately, I do not have a way to permanently generate frenzy charges in this build. However, that is very viable via Blood Rage, so I will work on that later. And we go up here with it, which is medium cluster with a projectile, and we get a repeater eye to eye, which is really strong if you're taking point blank, which we are right here. Point blank, 30% more. So this ends up being, see, this is 60, right? 60% increased damage, and this is 30% and 8% attack cast speed. Then our first split, we are eventually maybe doing a second split, I'm not sure, but our first one is right here for intelligence armor, just so we can solve more of our intelligence. And then Blanketed Snow gives us a flat 10% gold pin against chilled enemies. Then we are taking a Curse Cluster with Dark Discourse Wish for Death. This is right here. Enemies you curse are hindered. Regenerate 1% ES per second, blah blah blah. That doesn't matter. And effective curses. And this is, you have Coaling Strike against cursed enemies. Then our Watcher's Eye is just a attack speed precision and flat cold hatred. Now that has been a quick rundown of my build in League. Now I will be performing a few tests. Oh, Flash, sorry. We have Health, which is just a Seething Staunching. Dying Sun, Diamond Flask for immunity and for chill. I'm using this currently, but I'm probably going to switch it out, but it's the Overflowing Chalice with a 50% increased effect. And then our Movement Flask has evasion and flash charge when we deal a crit, so, you know, we're always critting almost. We have a respectable amount of crit at 53% crit, 409 crit multi, and we don't have no inspiration charges up, and we don't have this flask up, so it's really good. We crit half the time without anything else up, but when it's all up, we end up critting like about 2/3 or more of the time, so it's really a really strong setup. Now, the next video I will be showcasing it a little bit more, and as far as our MTXs are pretty simple. We are using the Arc of Defiance, Angelic Weapon Effect, Seething, Sunrise, Demonic, and Demonic. We don't have the rest of the Suffering, so we chose that, and they really fit the build and really fit the looks, so I liked it. I like the bow effect over the way the Death Harp looks, and then, you know, the glow is just awesome. But yeah, thank you so much for watching it. I hope you guys have a good one, and take it easy.